crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, the Zoning Board of Adjustment is authorized to meet electronically. The City of Concord will be using the Zoom platform for this electronic meeting. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by following the following link: US 0202, that is us.j/6109193118, or by dialing the following number and entering the following ID number at the prompt. The telephone number is area code 929-205-6099. The webinar ID is 610-919-318. Please enter your full name when logging in so attendance and minutes can be properly recorded. Note that telephone participation will be enabled at the end of each public hearing. All participants, please keep your phones and computers on mute unless speaking. Members of the public can also email questions or other public testimony to code@concordnh.gov, and staff will read the testimony or question into the record during the meeting. Any member of the public can also call the Code Administrative Office during the meeting at 603-230-3646 if they are unable to access the meeting and if assistance with connection is needed. Materials can be requested from the Code Administrator Division via, email, or by calling and leaving a message at 603-225-8580. Or meeting agendas and links to the cases can be accessed at concordnh.gov/280/zoning-board-of-adjustment. We have a 4-member board this evening, which is to say not our usual 5-member board. And we have a couple of cases who have elected to defer to a later meeting. And one of them is case 1821 3G Eagle LLC. And the other, was there another deferral?
Case 3119 Liberty Utilities.
Oh, case 3119 Liberty Utilities. Those are also deferred. Both those cases are deferred for this evening. We have one other case where we have yet to speak with the appellant about the number of people on the board, and that's Audrey and Dennis Dion, 2921. Is either Audrey or Dennis Dion among us?
You'll need
Dennis Dion here he is.
No, they'll need, there they go.
Yeah, we're here. Hi, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We have a 4-member board this evening. Normally we have a 5-member board. We can hear your case with a 4-member board, and any motion would have to carry with 3 members voting in concurrence, as is true of the 5-member board. Or you can defer to another meeting, presumably the next meeting next month, and your case will be heard by a 5-member board. If you choose to be heard by a 4-member board, the fact that you were heard by a 4-member board would not be considered grounds for a rehearing. Would you like to be heard by a 4-member board, or would you like to defer and be heard by a 5-member board?
The 4 members will be fine.
Yeah, 4-member board is fine.
All right, good.
Mr. Carley, just one point of clarification. You do understand that with the 4-member board, you must have 3 votes that still vote in favor of your application. If you have a 5-member board, you still need 3 members to vote in favor. So I want you to be clear that the odds are better with a 5-member board. So if you can go forward tonight if you wish.
So if we decide to go with the 5-member board, we have to reschedule for next month. Is that what we're saying?
Right. It will be recessed until next month. No additional charges to you as applicants.
Correct.
I think we're fine.
I think we're fine. We'll run with it.
We have faith.
Yeah, we believe in the system.
All right, very good. We will follow our usual procedure this evening, which is to say, I'll call the cases in the order in which they appear in the agenda. In this case, we have only two cases on the agenda this evening, case 3021 and case 2921. I will ask the appellant to be sworn in, give us any testimony that they would like us to hear, and we will then ask the appellant to step down, and we will solicit testimony from anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard in favor of the appeal. Following that, we will solicit testimony from anyone who is in opposition to the appeal. After that, we check in with code enforcement to see if there's any comment from code enforcement office, and if any information has arisen that appears to bear factual clarification, the appellant will have the opportunity to offer that clarification, not new arguments, prior to our closing the public testimony portion of the hearing. We request that the appellants confine their testimony, if at all possible, to a 10-minute interval, and members of the audience to try and keep it to 5 minutes. After we have closed the public testimony of the hearing, the board will usually act on the case before moving on to the next one. So our first case this evening is 2921, Audrey and Dennis Dion. The applicant wishes to expand their driveway width and requests a variance to Article 2877F driveway widths. Permit a driveway with a maximum width of 50 feet where a maximum width of 28 feet is allowed for property located at 22 Shaw Street in Pennacook in an RN residential neighborhood district. Mr. Dion, Mrs. Dion, what would you like us to know?
Well, pretty much when the garage got installed on the property way back in 2006, the understanding when we planned it, we planned on the driveway being completely to the street. So we knew we had to do the variance, but we just did not proceed in that time period to do it. So now we're getting ready to finish the property, so that way it's finished.
So much better than it was. Sorry, that's a great picture.
Were you aware when you built the garage that the granting of a variance is not automatic?
Yes.
Can you tell us why you believe the criteria for a variance are met in this case?
My understanding, I'm within the boundaries of the allowability that I was told when I was questioning about expanding for the 50-foot mouth, that everything was fitting, that the parameters were applied. So I just decided to go through and do the variance and get the driveway completed. And when we installed the garage, we were not aware, but I assume it was not going to be a big thing to do. To proceed through the town to get them to acknowledge the fact that it makes sense to put the driveway straight into the street, because as we stand now, we're plowing dirt and all that good stuff, and we're still driving over the dirt. We've been doing that ever since the garage was installed.
Are there questions from the board?
I looked at your application, and you suggested there was discussion about the driveway at the original variance request for the 3-car garage. Is that correct?
There was no discussion back in 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4-car garage, but there was no discussion when we installed the garage.
So
Back
no
in
discussion
2006.
about the driveway not being able to accommodate all the access points to the garage. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, when we did the asphalt point after the garage was built, we were told that we were allowed 25 feet, so that's what we did at that time. Because we weren't aggressively worried about the driveway at that point. We just wanted to get some asphalt, so that way we can park our vehicles on something solid. So now we're at the point now, after 25 years of living here, that we decided it's time to get the driveway completed, so the house is completed, as we pictured it from the beginning.
And how do you access the right-handmost part of the garage now?
We drive over the dirt. We drive strictly over the dirt straight in. Because the mouth is lean more towards the left side of the driveway. So the right side is the dirt portion.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Mr. Dion, in your application, you talk about driving over a city easement to enter the left side of the garage. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's pretty much city property. It's 14 feet of city property that I'm driving over, like the grass. I call it an easement, but it's just it's not technically an easement. It's just the city property
I believe
that I don't have access to put asphalt on.
Craig, can you help me with that?
Yes, he's referring to the right of way that extends
okay.
beyond the
Yeah, right
paved section of the roadway. Yes.
Okay. May I ask Craig another question?
Yes, please.
Craig, is there any issue with them parking in that area without it being paved? Is that a problem under zoning for any reason?
It should be paved. There should be a curb. Parking is generally required to be paved for 2-family, 3-family homes. So.
Was that the rule when this was built?
As far as it being paved or not
Yes.
being paved,
Well,
our assumption we were going to pave it. The assumption with the city, it was not forwarded then because we were not thinking that far forward with the asphalt. So when we built the garage, we knew we were going to pave our property aspect. But as far as what belongs to like the city right away, we knew we kept within the parameters of the 28 feet. So that way, at least we can get into the driveway and have some asphalt for us to park our vehicles and not have a muddy surface.
so if I could just summarize a little bit though. So that they built the garage, they built it the full width as it exists now. At that point in time, it was 25, but I think 28 would have been acceptable too, depending on engineering. I think they say 25. So at that point in time, they were only allowed the 25-foot width without a variance. So they went forward with a 25-foot width at that point in time. Now they are coming back and requesting the full width.
Correct.
And this issue of access wasn't discussed at the time they built the garage?
No, we did not get heavy into the conversation. We weren't thinking that much ahead. When we decided to do the garage, we're just strictly thinking about the garage.
Well, how did you plan to access the garage if you didn't have the wider driveway?
We're just going to drive over the dirt. Just keep doing what we're doing.
Just what we're doing.
Because we can't grow grass on it because it's just going to turn to mud.
Right.
So we got gravel there now.
What I'm showing you is the aerial photograph from 2010, which would have been just after this was built. So what you can see here is this little curved area here would have remained grass, and that is the driveway width. So they would have had to enter the last stall coming over that direction.
Yeah, it was a pretty sharp turn.
But could you do that?
Not safely.
Not without hitting the dirt like
Yeah,
anything
no.
else. Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
No.
No.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know, Mr. Dion or Mrs. Dion?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
But we do
All right.
appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone who would like to be heard in opposition to it? I do have a letter, which is from the Foote Family Revocable Trust, Jim Foote and Will Foote, I believe. Said we cannot make the meeting of June 2nd. I'm surprised he's requested an extension and a permit, as he usually does what he wants. When the drive was first put in years ago, he actually added more cement to the hot top to expand his driveway. Mr. Dion does not have enough room to plow the snow we receive now. On numerous occasions over the past few winters, we've witnessed him plowing snow across the road over onto the street and sidewalk of the Boucher Senior Apartments on the corner of Shaw and Community Drive. We have witnessed him plow up Shaw Street, across High Street, and push the snow up by the fire hydrant. We've seen him push the snow across Community Drive. There is a stone wall between properties, and with the new addition of an apartment over his garage and an outside entrance, he has no more room for the placement of snow. Is there any comment from code enforcement?
No, I don't have anything additional to add.
Mr. Dion, would you care to offer any factual clarification in response to anything we've heard?
I was, as far as plowing across the street, that was street snow. I was just doing it because I wanted to do it, just to clear my street, because in the winter, this section of street in front of the house doesn't get plowed to the last run. It gets hit once during the beginning of the storm, then they don't come back to the end. So when I'm doing my driveway, what's in my driveway stays in my driveway. Honestly, it really does. I keep that stuff in the driveway. Then I play with my plow to clear the street, and I push it across the street. That's all I do. The snow that goes across the street is from the street. So what's in my driveway stays in my driveway. So I was just playing with my plow truck just to play with it, just to play with the snow. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we'll declare the public testimony portion of the hearing closed, and I invite board members to share their thoughts on the appeal, starting with Nick Walner.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that this didn't come up during the first zoning board meeting when he was granted a variance for a multi-car garage, that we wouldn't have said, what about?
Oh, wait, Nick. No, I don't believe there was ever any variance granted for a multi-stall garage. That must be a misunderstanding. I
thought I saw that in the application. Maybe I'm wrong.
mean, if it's there, yeah. But no, I didn't believe there was a variance granted necessarily for the garage. He was told when he built the garage that he would need a variance to expand the driveway.
Which he does acknowledge.
Yes, yeah. But no, I don't believe he required a variance for that.
Yeah, I would have thought the building of the garage would have gone hand in hand with the consideration towards the width of the driveway. And so I don't know what happened, why they didn't get addressed that.
Laura Spector-Morgan, what are your thoughts?
Nick, you punted.
Thank you.
I agree with you. I don't know why it wasn't addressed when the garage was built. I don't see anything about the property that makes it uniquely burdened by the zoning restriction limiting the width of the driveway. There is a way to access that third bay by driving over the existing paved portion, and just because it's not convenient is not a basis to grant a variance. As I understand it, the purpose of these limitations of driveways is to sort of, for public safety, you only have so many cars going in and out at a given time. And I think having this large swath of paved driveway would present perhaps a safety problem with 3 cars trying to go in and out at the same time. I don't think there'll be any diminution surrounding property values, but I don't think there's any loss to the owner by the denial of the variance. They can still use the property. They can still use the third bay. They can apparently still drive over the dirt. They just can't pave the additional width of the driveway. So I would vote to deny the variance.
Laura Scott.
Laura stole everything I was going to say, but said it better. I don't see any hardship. They were told when they were going to build this garage that they needed a variance. And though it is inconvenient to get into that third bay, they've been doing it. And I just don't see what the hardship is. There's nothing unique about it. And having a 50-foot wide driveway for a residential property like this, that's a lot of asphalt to be doing. So I'm not in favor of this variance.
I'm inclined to agree with my fellow board members on all the points that they have made. Is there anyone who would care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny the variance.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Very well, I'll call for a vote. Starting with Mr. Wallner
Aye.
and Ms. Spector Morgan
Aye.
and Ms. Scott.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The vote is unanimous. The variance is denied. That brings us to the second case on our agenda this evening. Jacob Tewksbury for Warren Fitzgerald. The applicant requests a special exception under Article 2824J, Table of Principal Uses, to establish a day spa, a personal service use B1, for property located at 54 South State Street in the UT Urban Transitional District. Ms. Tewksbury, I see your avatar. I assume you're with us.
You're muted if you are with us.
You sent me a text earlier saying, oh, that's
Okay, does this work?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can hear you now. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Could you fill us in on why you believe you meet the criteria for a special exception?
So currently I'm at 244 North Main Street, and when I talked to the Fitzgeralds about switching to 54 South State Street, I believe it was Wendy Keeler who suggested that I needed to reach out to you guys to make sure that I had the proper special exception variance or whatever it is technically called to do so. So I was just following their lead on that.
Okay. You did fill out an application, so I know you're familiar with the criteria for a special exception. Can you run down why you feel you comply?
Yes, so the current zoning for the building itself is, I believe, is similar to what we're doing right now. And I do not remember the specific business that was on the second floor before, in addition to Warren Fitzgerald's building, but we do not have any more than currently 5 people that will come in to utilize the building at the time, because we only have 5 employees and it's all one-on-one services at this point. So from what I was told, I believe that it is sort of equivalent to what it served for at this time. And I spoke with Nikki Fitzgerald, who has, I think, dealt with you guys in the past about zoning issues, and they did have massage therapists in the past who rented from them in the front part of the building. So I'm pretty sure it's similar to what we are doing at this point. And from what I read on the application, there is no additional services from the city that will be required to handle any of the services that we're going forward. I believe it referenced police, fire, and something to do with wastewater, and none of those services will be extended from what we're doing currently, moved over to 54 South State Street.
Does the building have parking on site?
Yes, there's actually 18 spaces currently, which is more than what I have currently on my Main Street property.
And you say you have 5 employees?
Currently, yes.
Okay. And typically how many clients would be in there at one time?
Max capacity, can't have more than 5.
Okay. So a total of 10 people plus you?
Yep. And I actually work elsewhere, so I wouldn't even be there on a regular basis. I think the room has a total of 10 spots. So even at max capacity, if there was 10 practitioners at any one given time, there can only be a total of 20 people, which is likely not gonna happen because most of the girls are part-time. So max capacity would be, 2 people per room. There's 11 rooms, and I don't even think they're big enough to handle what they're looking to. So I would say 8 and 8, so 16.
And you'll be using the whole building? There won't be any other tenants?
Nope.
Okay.
Very good. Are there other questions from the board? Nick, anything? Laura Scott?
No, I'm all set.
Laura Spector Morgan?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Tewksbury.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in opposition to it? I don't believe there was any written submission from anyone outside of other than the appellant. Craig, any comments from code enforcement?
Nope, I don't have anything to add on this, except for the fact that, the parking is not an issue because it's essentially a change from one use to another, allowed by special exception, but otherwise a permitted use, and the demand for parking remains essentially the same between the previous use and the proposed use.
Okay, very good. With that, we'll declare the public testimony portion of the hearing closed. We have a request for a special exception for a day spa business. We heard testimony that the appellant would have 5 employees on site, potentially 5 clients, and that the burden on the property would be no greater than it is with its current use. Discussion. Laura Scott, how do you see it?
No, I think that it's a good use for the building, having it be one business as opposed to multiple businesses. They can better control parking and the use of the building. So I don't see a problem. I'm in favor of it.
Very good. Laura Spector Morgan.
Between the application and the testimony we've heard tonight, I am convinced that the 7 special exception criteria are met.
And Nick Warner.
I think it meets the requisite findings for a special exception.
I agree with my colleagues. Would anyone care to make a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second it.
Oh, Laura Scott can have it.
Okay, Laura Scott is the seconder. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All right, we'll go around the room then. Laura Scott,
Aye.
Laura Spector Morgan,
Aye.
Nick Wallner,
Aye.
and I also vote aye. The special exception is granted. And I believe that concludes our agenda this evening. Craig, do we have other business before us?
Well, move to approve last month's minutes.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Is, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I see unanimous ayes on that. Anything else, Craig?
No, I don't have anything else for this evening.
All right, David, you good?
What's the agenda look like for next month?
Well, the deadline isn't until the 7th, but I think we got 6 or 7 cases, so it looks like plus a couple that were recessed from this month.
So Chris, you really put me to work, in other words.
Well, yeah, it looks like it. My vacation planning was really good here.
Evidently.
Oh, we may
depending-
be able to be in person. We'll get to see each other.
Yeah,
That'd be
I'll miss
nice.
that.
I'd say
As Nick
depending
says, I'll have
on
to-
board members' availability, so we may have to have the whole meeting on the 14th. So Chris will get stuck with it possibly anyway. So
Oh, well,
But if
it
you
was
have
a
a
good try.
problem, you'll be polling the applicants ahead of time, won't you?
well, if we can determine that we won't have a full board for the 7th and we can for the 14th, we'll just go forward with the 14th and publicly notice it as that. So
Okay.
there won't be any problems.
And Craig, I'm not available on the 14th.
Okay,
Thank
but
you.
you are on the 7th?
I am.
Okay. Getting closer, Nick.
And it sounds like you're looking for people who might be good candidates as alternates on the board.
Yep. As my email said, I think we have one alternate, one new alternate coming on, and so we have 3 alternate positions open at this point.
So was it Ted Evans that was going to come back on?
Yes, we're hoping. Yep.
Okay, good. All right, I'll get that to thought and see if I can come up with any ideas for names.
All right.
And would anyone else think of anyone? Please let Craig know. Thank you very much, everybody.
The recording has stopped.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Au revoir.